Hi, I'm Martin Leung, video game pianist, and you're listening to SideScrollers on ScrewAttack.com.
It's time for SideScrollers on ScrewAttack.com with your host, Stuttering Craig.
I'm kind of a perfectionist.
And Handsome Tom.
Who's that handsome devil?
Also with Jocelyn the Intern.
Wake up, little snoozy. Smell the smelling salt.
And producer Andy.
Help! He's got a boner!
And now broadcasting from the world's Screw Attack headquarters in Dallas, Texas, it's the SideScrollers.
Welcome on out to SideScrollers on ScrewAttack.com. What is going on? I am Stuttering Craig.
And I'm Handsome Tom.
And it is come and gone. E3 is over. Man, Handsome Tom, can you believe it?
It kind of all ran together. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the days are so long that the days just, you don't even know if it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. But regardless, it's done. And we are in our hotel room right now, just hanging out, just, I guess, thinking about what is we just did, Handsome Tom.
We did everything that video games has to offer this year.
Pretty much, yeah. We hit Nintendo, we hit Xbox, and we hit Sony, which is going to be the pretty big thing today on today's show. Because yesterday, we had a big few hours over at the Sony booth to the PlayStation 3. And Handsome Tom, you had some thoughts on the Sony booth in general, because you guys spent, 3-4 hours over there, right?
Well, we were in line to play
Warhawk.
Warhawk, that's
Yeah.
right. And, we're next up. And all of a sudden, these huge guys come up to us and say, "Excuse me." And then Steven Spielberg walks right in front of us.
Oh, okay.
And, whatever. That's cool. Steven Spielberg, you gotta wait. Anyway, like I said, just built up the hype for what we were about to do. We're going to go into this personalized booth and experience the PlayStation 3. And it was actually running on the PlayStation 3.
Whoa, instead of the...
Yeah, instead of like they had the development kits running out on the floor, but in the individual rooms, they actually had the PS3 up and running.
So you had a chance to sit down and play Warhawk. Warhawk was one of those games that everybody wanted to play because it actually had the maneuverable controller. If you moved up, the plane moved up. If you tilted it back, the plane would go up. If you tilted it down, the plane would go down. What were your thoughts of Warhawk and just the overall perception of the controller?
Well, we actually got to speak with the lead designer, so that helped out on a lot of stuff they were doing. It's only 30% done, which is amazing for, I guess it is just one level, but, if you flew through the clouds, it looked like clouds. You went down to the water, it looked like water. It was a very fun, it wasn't a technical game. It wasn't like Ace Combat, but, you have several different modes, which makes it real easy to play. You can hover and just blow things up and move the controller around, or you can fly around and destroy everything.
Yeah, so you're talking about how it looked and how the controller felt. As far as the Nintendo goes, in comparison to the PS3, what were the big differences between the two?
Well, Craig, there's a big problem. I didn't get to play the Wii this weekend.
Haha! I did. No, I can answer that, actually. The PS3 definitely has better graphics, because, it's built for that stuff. But Nintendo, the controller itself is... I felt it was much more innovative than the PlayStation 3 when I played that.
It also looked like they had a lot more running apps for the Wii. You know what I'm saying? I think that was the only game that used the controller settings.
Yeah, absolutely. The PS3 had one game, Warhawk, with the actual controller that you can move around. Nintendo had roughly, probably 15, 16, 17, 18. They had everything. So, big stuff. But, it's not only about what we think. I was walking around the Sony area at PlayStation 3, the giant booth, and I sat down and while a couple of people were playing their games and just kind of chit-chatted with them. A couple fanboys or whatever, just sitting down and while they're playing. And I was like, hey, what do you think about the controller? And this guy said this.
It's a lot better. The back R2 and L2 buttons are much more sensitive, and the way you control it is just so much better. Flying the plane it's like second nature.
All right, so second nature. Did you feel that way at all?
It was really easy and fun to use. So pretty close, yeah.
Real easy, just the maneuverability of it, because I had about 15, 20 seconds with Warhawk. Not a whole lot to experiment with it, but you had much more time.
Oh yeah, I mean when you have the developer saying, "Hey, try this out, try this out." I mean we were selecting different weapons that they had some lightning array that just it's like a side scroller, shooter.
Just not.
Yeah,
just
but
as 3D.
I mean it's just as
Just
you
as
like
easy.
side-scrolling shooters and you know exactly what to do. Same type of deal.
Okay, so real easy, right?
Yeah.
Funny you say that, because the next guy I talked to said this.
Very easy to figure out, very not exactly sensitive, but can make those nice loops when you really need them to. Really intuitive, smart, and really, really easy to figure out.
So he thought it was pretty easy. You thought it was pretty easy. I thought it was somewhat easy. What about the graphics, though? Because that's what everybody wants to talk about. We talked about that earlier, the big differences between... And I talked to this one guy, and I usually want to put something like this on the air, but it's just hilarious. Just listen to what this guy said about the graphics.
Gorgeous. Graphics are unbelievable, man. It's like out of this world.
They're out of this world, man. They're out of this world, Handsome Tom. Let's go smoke some pot.
Like out of this world.
Let's not.
Okay. So... we had a good time. We had a good time over at the Sony booth. If you want any more details, feel free to email us, Craig@ScrewAttack.com.
Or Tom at ScrewAttack.com. You can also visit our forums.
Indeed, and get the...
We will start being back on there again. Being at E3, it's pretty tough to do both.
Exactly. When the days blend together, like Handsome Tom said, you really just don't know what's coming and going. Now, we also had a good opportunity to sit down. We've been talking about this the past couple days. On Wednesday, the first day of E3, to chit-chat with Fatality, Handsome Tom. Now, this guy was, he's the #1 gamer in the world, first-person shooter gamer. You played him in Quake 4, and you pretty much got thromped, right?
Yeah.
Or Quake 3, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can make up a lot of excuses, just like everybody else, but I guess the guy was pretty good.
Pretty solid. What was the final score?
You'll have to check out the video to find out.
Yeah, the video is up on the website right now. You can see the little montage that we have put together, that our staff has done, and it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's good stuff. Also, we have some other good stuff going on with the interview itself, so we wanted to play that for you right now. This is the Fatality interview that took place on Wednesday. All right, welcome back to SideScrollers, everybody. Stutter and Craig and Mr. Fatality with us today. Now, we got some questions for you. Talk about what it's like to be #1.
You feel like a rabbit. You're always running, always trying to move up the ladder, and always trying to be #1. So it's really hard because you're always running. You're always trying to keep them off your tail. So
don't lie, dude. You're #1. You don't need to move up the ladder at all.
No, it's like, but you're always on the move. So I mean, I'm always progressing every year, trying to become the #1 again and continue that dominance.
Cool.
Now, who's your greatest competitor?
Well, last year, everyone knows, I think, is Vu was my biggest competition last year on the World Tour. It was probably one of the best finishes I ever had on the World Tour, coming from the lower bracket and winning the 4 games straight on MTV, on national TV, and winning that $150,000.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, so speaking of money and the fame and everything, do you like gather groupies wherever you go? Are there gamer girl groupies?
I mean, I have a lot of female fans. I mean, so I travel all around the world, and it's great to be a pro gamer and to get mainstream media.
Indeed, it is. So, you're playing these games now. Like, what are your top games of all time? Like your top 5? I'm talking NES, Atari, whatever.
My top 5 games?
Yeah.
I would have to say Quake 3 probably being the biggest game, just because it's a game really that broke out gaming to make a living at it. So I was able to do that in the year 2000. After that, I gotta say like Mortal Kombat 2 or something like that. I mean, I played it non-stop at the arcades as a kid. That's how I got the name Fatality in the first place. After that, Panko was a great game. Quake 1 was an unbelievable game as well. Besides that, I guess Doom 2 was one of the first games I played on LAN, so all those games are pretty awesome games.
Man, you sound like just about all of us. Love those games when we were back in, freshman year of college. You were playing those. Now, do you have like exercises you do to keep in shape or anything like that?
Definitely. I mean, typically my regimen is I wake up around noon every day. I play about 4 hours nonstop, and then I do go out and run. I run about 2 to 4 miles a day when I'm in training, and then after that, I have my lunch or whatever, relax, hang with my friends or whatever. But from around 6 p.m. to about 4 a.m., I try to get about 4 more hours of gameplay in by the end of the night.
And no arthritis yet?
No arthritis. I mean, the equipment I built around my mouse pad and so forth, I'm able to protect my wrist and my forearms and so forth, and my fingers pretty well. So I've been through the pains of gaming and stuff like that and stuff like that and so forth. But I've created a product to help me not have those pains, so I can game for 8, 12 hours at a time and have no pain at all.
All right, so talking about those products, now you've gone from being gamer guy to like gamer god and all through all these products. Like, describe the steps from going from guy on the block to guy that everybody knows.
Well, I guess in 1999, I just graduated high school. I was going to college. I really wanted to go to a tournament down in Dallas to see if I can compete against the best players in the world. I already knew I was pretty good, but I didn't know how good yet, so I was really going to test out, see how good I was. Went to the tournament, had to move out of my mom's house to actually pursue this. Spent my last $500 I had in the bank to go to this, and actually won $4,000 for taking third place at the tournament. Shortly after that, I got invited to go to Sweden to represent USA. I beat the top 12 gamers in the world, becoming a world champion at the age of 18 years old. After that, basically, I found a sponsor to start paying for my travel, and I won over $100,000 in year 2000. Since then, I basically kept moving on, kept playing tournaments, lost some sponsors because of the dot-com era, bust and everything and so forth. But I still kept my dream alive, kept playing tournaments, kept winning tournaments, winning a lot of money. And then in 2002, I realized, hey, I have a great thing going here. Let's create a brand. I want to help make product for the gamers and create real gaming product for the gamers. And so I wanted to help sponsor gamers as a turnaround. When I sell the product, I'm going to sponsor gamers behind that. So I started sponsoring gamers and so forth. And then now I found a team to take on the Fatality brand and to do the day-to-day work. So now we have partners like Creative, Soundbox Rectify, XFX, Avit, and Zalman to create products. So we distribute Fatality product to over 120 countries now worldwide. So it's really awesome feeling to be here. And now we're here at E3. Been here for the last 6 years, basically, but the last 3 years with the Fatality booth. And now you can see it's unbelievable.
So you're talking about your gaming and everything. Are you going to be going on tour and playing in like QuakeCon and the CPL events and all that other stuff coming up?
Definitely. The big events this year right now are the World Series of Video Gaming, which will be starting to be televised on TV. So we're going to have a big boost for gaming again. And after that, there'll be some CPL events on the way. Also QuakeCon, which I love a lot. And then there'll be a lot of LAN events all around the world. I mean, I'm going to be in Germany and Sweden, at DreamHack and at Games Convention, all these different events all across the world, even in Asia. So, I mean, I'm pretty much globally landing all the time.
All right, so we're going to do some quick word association. All right, I'll say something, you say something else, all right? All right, Morgan Webb.
I have no idea. I don't know who it is.
Morgan Webb from G4? The host of X-Play? No?
Yes, Morgan. Very cute.
CPO.
World Tour Finals.
Fatality.
That's me.
Cool, man. I appreciate your time. So there it is, Fatality, one on two, I guess. The only time he could lose against us. Anyways, whatever. So what'd you think of this guy, Fatality?
Well, for the record,
personally, I mean,
I did win one round.
Yeah, actually,
for the record.
Yes, actually, before we started, he was over there changing his options on the screen, and you got one kill on him, which is probably the only kill.
That was actually 2 kills.
Oh, you got, 2 frags, I guess?
Whatever.
Yeah, you got 2 frags on him. And I guess you technically won, but the MC of the event was very quick to point out that was not the actual round, and that was a practice round.
It was a moral victory, though.
Yeah.
Moral.
Yeah, exactly. And you can actually see that on the video. That's when I'm raising my arms. It's pretty funny. Awesome. I thought the guy, he was very confident, and I guess that's what you get when you're like the best gamer in the world. You become very confident in yourself. Michael Jordan's confident in himself. Tiger Woods confident in himself. Dirk is very confident in himself, and so is Fatality.
Very true. Confidence is the best, I guess. I don't know.
Now, we also had a chance to sit down with, we had a chance to walk around after Fatality, and I ran in to the Midway booth over in the Midway area, and Mortal Kombat Armageddon was another one of those buzz games that everybody wanted to play because it's a new Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is this the brand in itself, and they got this new game coming out in a little bit with over 50 playable characters and all this great stuff, and you can play as Goro and Kintaro, all the players that you never could play as, you can now.
Well, I was a little disappointed though. We tried to find out, but right now it's only on current gen systems, and I'd love to see that on the 360 or the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked good for only being like 30 or 40% done. It was a lot of fun, but come on, do both.
Yeah, it only had like 15 playable characters in it.
15 out of 800, or what is it, 80? So yeah, that's not
50,
a lot.
80, whatever. But the point is, on the game board itself, where you select your characters, it actually had a flip option to where you could flip the entire game board and pick a completely separate character. So it's pretty good stuff. But anyways, while we're walking around there, I'm looking at this guy with the Midway lanyard on, and I'm like, I wonder who this guy is. And it turns out it's a developer of the game, one of the guys who was working on it, Jim Turdina, and we had a chance to sit down with him at the Midway booth. We have Jim Turdina here from Midway, and we were talking MK Armageddon. Jim, how's it going on first off?
It's going great, thank you.
All right, cool. So tell us the differences about MK Armageddon and what you can expect from the past MKs.
Oh, sure. Well, we intend to include all the characters from all the previous Mortal Kombat games in this, so that's almost 60 characters. Additionally, the fighting game will be enhanced by air combat, and also we have a sort of an interactive creative fatality thing that we're really excited about. Our Conquest mode is totally revamped. It's more action-oriented, and it's really beautiful looking. Quite a bit of new features are added to this game.
So you talked about the air combat. Go a little bit more in depth with that if you can.
Sure. Basically, you can. We wanted to kind of bring back the style like the old MK games, the single-player MK games, where air combat was more of an issue. But now, basically, you can hit the guy in the air, jump up into the air, perform multiple combos on the guy, do throws in the air, and just 7, 8 hit combos in the air.
Very cool. Now, there's also a create a character feature on this. Now, what are some of the details on that?
Well, basically, you can choose either a male or a female model to start with, and then change their sizes and different attributes, and dress them any way you want with a variety of different clothing pieces. But past the physical looks, you can also build your own fight style. You can choose the kicks and the moves and the special moves and the weapon and however you want to do it. And once you build them, you can save them off and take them online.
Very cool. So that online play, that's going to be big for MK Armageddon. What are you guys expecting from that?
Well, we're just expecting to really bring allow the players to, bring their own characters online and really, enhance their experience.
What about are there going to be any updates after the initial launch? Are there going to be any updates you can possibly download with the new software or anything?
Well, not that I'm aware of at this time, at least, but you never know.
Cool. So what exactly are you working on in MK Armageddon? Like we just talked about it, but
oh, sure. Well, I'll be continuing to work on the air combat along with the creative fatality features, and I deal a lot with online latency and some of those technical issues also.
Awesome. That is Jim Turdina from Midway. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. All right, so Jim Turdina right there, one of the developers, the producers, the whatever you want to call him, on Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Now, he had some pretty interesting things to say, I guess, about the air combat. Wanted to kick it old school.
Yeah, the air combat was actually pretty sweet. It reminded me of Killer Instinct, but in the air.
Yeah, you could really throw down some quick combos on it. And one of the coolest things I thought about the game while playing it was the level fatalities.
Yeah, they also had combo fatalities. Like you do one fatality, then you could do, if you do it quick enough, you can do like 2 or 3 in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, I'd rip out somebody's heart, then tear off their arm, then I'd rip out their skull. I mean, I tried a bunch of different ones. They gave me the moves list, so I had a lot of fun messing with it.
That's right. Now, one of the cool things I saw, I guess, in addition to the fatality thing, was instead of just a few seconds to do it, they actually gave you a bar of time so you could actually see how much time you had to perform your fatality.
I asked about that. They don't know if they're putting that in the game yet.
Oh, I think that would be a big asset to the game.
Really? Just so you know exactly how to do the fatality and get it in there?
You have plenty of time to do it. You can throw it.
I wonder if they're going to have a cheat where you can make it so it's twice as long or something like that, so you can throw down 30
18,
fatalities.
Yeah, you could rip off his head, then shove it in his groin, and then put him on fire or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's always fun. And they're going to have the create a character option now,
which is amazing because they're going to have that online. I guarantee you there's going to be some kind of ultimate character with this. You can program their moves, their special moves, and their fatalities. So there's going to be some ultimate characters you're going to be able to find on the web and just destroy people.
Yeah, and if you're a big Street Fighter fan or you're a big Virtual Fighter fan or whatever, you can definitely create your own character and it'll be good, right? Because you can play as Akuma or whatever now in Mortal Kombat and take on Scorpion, which is something you've never seen before. Very cool stuff. Now, moving on from that, since we're done with E3, who do you think were the big winners, losers, and the people who just kind of showed?
Well, the easy thing to do is, I guess I was surprised by PlayStation.
Really?
I came in there with low expectations. You know, I heard they weren't even going to be running it on the system, and then I figured they just ripped off the controller. But apparently, we were talking to some developers, and they've been working on it since the beginning. That's what they said.
Really?
Yeah, the motion sensor controller.
See, that's funny because when we were talking about this earlier,
I retract that statement. I was misunderstood.
Okay, so
Like first, if you read articles online, like Kotaku and some other places like that, they were saying they only worked on it for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then, talking to those guys, they said this has been the plan, and it's just been the secret plan.
It's been the plan ever since Nintendo announced their controller.
Oh, I have no idea.
Exactly.
Who cares? If both of them are making great games and both systems rock, I don't care.
So what about your losers? Who'd you think who didn't deliver?
Well, there was this hall that was underneath everything. What was that called again?
The Kinty Hall. Now, before you go too far in depth to this, E3 is broken up into 3 main halls and a concourse. There's the South Hall, the West Hall, the Kinty Hall, which is actually underneath the South Hall, and the main concourse area where there's some booths and stuff like that as well. And the West Hall and the South Hall is where everything goes on. Midway's and Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony. They're all in the South and the West Hall. And there's like this little, I don't know, like the little company hall, I guess, where they have things like disc cleaners and paper towels for games and stuff.
Educational games. And if you see our montage of the E3 booth babes, you'll see some stuff there at the bottom hall.
Yeah, so anyways, the Kinty Hall.
Yeah. It's all of them sucked.
So everybody in the Kinty Hall is the big loser for you.
Yeah, they tried to reel people down there by saying, hey, history of video games, in which they had a few old school arcade games set up, some Japanese mini games on a table.
You know, that was actually pretty cool.
No, it could have been cooler. I think it was done poorly.
Yeah, well, I think what would have made it a lot cooler and what the Kinty Hall people would have really appreciated was if those were actually spread out instead of not right in the center of the big hall itself, to where people would just go to one central area and avoid their booths anyways.
Now, see, I can't lie. There were some decent offices down there. There were decent people down there, but the booths that were trying to show off things like the control a video game with your brain, but you're actually using the controller, or the educational games. Who cares? I don't know. Maybe there's just a market I haven't hit yet.
No, I don't think educational games is a market that we really need to touch on SideScrollers, to be honest with you. All right, so what about your companies or your products that really just you went in and you were like, it's kind of about what I expected?
Everything from Microsoft.
Yeah.
That booth was the exact same layout as last year, and they just had a bunch of games that I've seen before.
So yeah, it literally was the exact same booth as 2005. Which doesn't really make for much innovation, I guess.
I mean, several of them did that. EA did that, but they kind of redid the outside, but they did the exact same layout setup with that panoramic screen. But there was just nothing. I just went into Microsoft and then walked around and left.
Yeah.
I played Mortal Kombat, which I can do in the Midway booth.
Okay. Now, my big winner was Nintendo, obviously. And that just comes from the 3 hours I spent in there before pretty much anybody else, before we got really retardedly busy, and playing with the controller. And the biggest thing, I think it was the big winner, biggest reason is there's just a general buzz. It wasn't, hey, did you go check out the PS3? It was, hey, did you check out the Wii? Did you stand in line for 6 hours to check out the Wii? And that is why it was my big winner. Because, I mean, that was definitely the talk of the entire convention.
And they knew they had a line, which was awesome, because they had, like, the voice of Mario, and they had on screens around the entire wait line, and you could interact with them, talk to them, ask them stuff. I mean, it was really kind of fun.
Yeah, you talked about that, and that was a really cool addition they made to it, to where to get you even more hyped. I guess the first an hour until you actually get in there, there's these panels, and they're like giant high def or giant plasma or LCD TVs, just turned to the side to where they're like lit longwise, and there's cameras actually looking out at you, and so the people inside can actually see you. And they had different people, promotional models, or people who actually work for Nintendo, and one of them was actually the voice of Mario. He was out there and making woohoo, yaha, and all that crazy stuff. and they were interacting with you about the Wii itself. It was really a cool way to get you hyped for the Wii, and I think that really helped the buzz as well. The big loser for me, I definitely say it was Xbox, without a doubt. Microsoft, because they didn't really do anything to say you go, wow, that's really cool. They didn't throw down anything that anybody was really talking about, and it was just, kind of blah.
The coolest thing they did was release a Halo 3 pre-trailer, and maybe the Fable pre-trailer, and that wasn't even at the show.
Yeah.
They had a Gears of War movie we didn't check out because we just didn't check it out.
Yeah, whatever. But I think Gears of War, that was it's one of those games that had a lot of buzz, and it's actually kind of dying off right now, at least from what I've heard.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it. I don't know. There's too much other stuff going on.
Yeah, speaking of other stuff going on, the thing that I was really indifferent about was actually Sony and the PlayStation 3. Why? When I went over there and talked to people were like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I'd be like, well, what do you think about the price tag? If it came down to you buying a Wii for $250, which is what they've announced for the price for that, which is incredible, or the the PlayStation 3 for $499 low end, or high end $599 for the 60 gig hard drive, what would you choose? And people then were like, oh, well, maybe the Wii. And that the PlayStation 3, there was some buzz about it, but I think it was more just like the adrenaline of you actually playing in there and you saying, wow, this is awesome, this is cool. And then you realize that it's going to cost you $1,000 to buy it. Well,
don't forget, you have to buy an extra controller and a game, and who else knows what they're going to throw into that?
Yeah, for the
charge, you're going to have to buy a charger for your wireless controller somehow.
Yeah, so there's definitely, I don't know. It was kind of a buzzkill, I guess, with the PlayStation 3 price and everything. Now, talking about buzz, what about the buzz games of E3? There's a lot of games on. I mean, thousands of games on display. Educational games, action games, fighting games, side-scrollers, 3D action, platform, whatever. And there were a few games that really you were just like, wow, I got to play that. What were those for you?
Well, let's see. We've already talked about it, but Mortal Kombat, that flying game for PlayStation.
Warhawk?
I really wanted to play the Wii, but I just didn't get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the ones that I kept hearing about was Guitar Hero 2, and that was actually one of the top games from the GameSpot, whatever, best games or most anticipated games or whatever. Guitar Hero, there was always a line waiting to play that game.
Yeah. Another cool game was Call of Duty, the new download maps for the 360, and I guess for PC.
I didn't get a chance to play that.
You didn't get a chance to play it. It was kind of fun. We actually got some footage of that. We'll have to put it on the site as well.
Cool. We definitely will. Yeah, I agree with you about Mortal Kombat. The Warhawk, absolutely, because that was one of the top games. But I also think anything with the Wii booth was the buzz thing. So, like I said, everybody was like, well, hey, have you played it? Have you not? How long did you wait? Whatever. So there you go. That's E3 in a nutshell, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of crap to go over.
There's the music. Martin, video game pianist. That's the music we use.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we have an interview from him on the site right now, and you heard that a couple days ago on the show. I guess yesterday, the E3 Day 2 show. So lots of good stuff. A very successful E3, I guess, for the SideScrollers and ScrewAttack.com. Yeah,
it's our first one with the show, and hopefully next year we can make it twice as big.
We've got some huge things to improve on, but definitely some big plans as well. Anyway, so that's E3. We will see you this coming up Wednesday and every Wednesday on ScrewAttack.com. Get your friends over to the forum. As always, feel free to drop us a line. Craig at ScrewAttack.com.
And Tom at ScrewAttack.com.
And let us know what you think of the show. Till that Wednesday, this is Stuttering Craig and Handsome Tom saying see you later.